Curious, I raised my hands in front of me. They looked solid. They looked real. I brought them together and felt the sensation of touch, distinct, unmistakable. I took a deep breath, fully expecting resistance, pain, or panic. Instead, I laughed in amazement and thought, wow, I can breathe underwater. Welcome to Let's Lift the Veil. Before the story begins, a quick moment for you watching this video. If near-death experiences, consciousness beyond the body, and the question of what truly happens when we die resonate with you, subscribe to the channel and activate the notifications bell. Your support helps keep these testimonies visible and shared with respect and depth. What you are about to hear is not a theory, a belief, or a second-hand account. This is the lived testimony of a young woman who in June 1977 experienced a near-death event after drowning in a swimming pool. During those moments, her consciousness separated from her body, giving her direct insight into the nature of life, death, and what may exist beyond the physical world. This story is inspired by a real testimony that you can read by clicking the link in the description or the one pinned in the first comment. We invite you now to listen with an open mind and an open heart. Now close your eyes, breathe in, and let's lift the veil together. I was a young woman in my early 20s when it happened, in June of 1977. At that time in my life I was carefree, curious, and like many people my age, unaware of how thin the veil between life and death truly is. I could not swim, though that fact felt unimportant in the moment. We were laughing, playing around a pool, teasing each other in that careless way youth allows. I never imagined that such a trivial moment would become the dividing line between who I was before and who I would never stop becoming afterward. Without warning, I was pushed into the deep end of the pool. There was no malice intended, only foolish horseplay, but my body didn't know that. The moment I hit the water, panic should have taken over. But instead, something else happened. Something far beyond panic, far beyond fear, far beyond anything I had ever been taught to expect. I sank straight down, heavy and fast like a stone. When my feet touched the bottom of the pool, something extraordinary occurred. Myself, that is the only word that truly fits, separated from my body. Instantly I was no longer inside it. I found myself up and to the right, just behind my body's right shoulder, suspended effortlessly in the water. I was completely aware that the body below me, thrashing and drowning, was mine. I recognized every detail. The shape, the marks, the moles, the scars. It looked exactly like me. And yet, I felt no attachment to it at all. There was no fear, no concern, no urgency. I watched my body struggle for life with the same emotional distance one might have while observing a stranger. My first thought was not I am dying, but rather how can I be here and there at the same time? Curious, I raised my hands in front of me. They looked solid. They looked real. I brought them together and felt the sensation of touch, distinct, unmistakable. I took a deep breath, fully expecting resistance, pain, or panic. Instead, I laughed in amazement and thought, wow, I can breathe underwater. That alone should have terrified me, but it didn't. It fascinated me. My awareness was sharper than it had ever been before. 100% alert, lucid, present. Time had no meaning. Everything seemed to be happening all at once, as if I had stepped outside the narrow stream of moments we normally call reality. I understood instantly and without explanation that while we live in the flesh, we see only a fraction of what exists. We move through a multidimensional world with eyes that are not capable of truly seeing. I became aware of voices above the water, people standing by the pool. I could hear their words clearly, even their thoughts and emotions. I knew what they feared, what they hoped, and what they believed was happening to my body. Yet none of it concerned me. I was far too absorbed in the realization that dying did not hurt. Not only did it not hurt, it felt like relief. The colors around me were astonishing. Everything was brighter, richer, more alive. It was as though I had spent my entire life in dim lighting, and someone had suddenly turned on every light in the room, like the moment after a movie ends and the theater lights flood the space. This was real. What I had lived in before felt like a muted version of existence. In that moment, I understood something profound. The body was not me. It was a coat I had been wearing. Free from pain, free from confusion, free from the weight of worry and expectation, I felt lighter than I had ever imagined possible. All negative emotions were gone. There was no anxiety, no sadness, no regret, only clarity and freedom. My entire understanding of life was transforming faster than thought itself. And then, just as suddenly, the one who had pushed me into the pool jumped in after me. I watched as he reached my body, pulled it upward, and broke the surface of the water. The instant my body was rescued, myself was forced back into it. The transition was violent and unwelcome. As quickly as I had left, I was returned, and I was furious. The anger shocked me with its intensity. I did not want to come back. I had not been asked. I had not been given a choice. I later understood that if I had been offered one, I would have refused without hesitation. Perhaps that is why no choice was given at all. As myself reintegrated with my body, I became aware of everything my body had experienced in my absence: the terror, the rage and panic, a desperate instinct to survive. I had not felt any of it while I was separated, but now I was forced to absorb it all at once. I never saw through my body's eyes. I only felt what it had endured. I realized then that the body and the self are not equal partners. While the self can experience the body cannot experience the self. It is completely unaware of the greater reality it serves. When inside the body, it has priority, control, and a powerful survival instinct. It does not know that death is not the end. It does not know that separation does not harm the self. The self does not suffer in separation. The body does. In that instant, I understood something that would never leave me. There is no death as we believe it to be. Life is not what we are taught. Life is eternal. It always has been and it always will be. Before I fully returned, my past flashed before me, unbidden, uncontrollable, like pages riffling through a book too quickly to stop. There was no judgment, no condemnation, only awareness. I sensed a boundary, an invisible barrier I was not permitted to cross. The decision was not mine. I was sent back against my will. And just like that, I was alive again. My life, behind the veil. What followed did not happen all at once. Recovery took time. My body healed, but my inner world had been permanently altered. Leaving the hospital marked a physical return to life, but internally, I had already crossed a line that could not be uncrossed. I was no longer the same young woman who had fallen into that pool. In the weeks and months that followed, I found it difficult to relate to life the way I once had. Everyday concerns felt smaller, less urgent. I was calmer around pain, around loss, and especially around dying. While others feared it, I felt steady, grounded in a knowing I could not fully explain but never doubted. Spiritually, everything expanded. I became less rigid, less attached to fear-based interpretations of life. Though I would later identify as a conservative, non-denominational believer, my faith was no longer rooted in dogma. It was rooted in experience. Religious symbols like angels, God, the unseen, no longer felt abstract. They felt familiar. Not imagined, not symbolic, but real in a way words struggle to convey. I discovered that I had developed a sensitivity I did not possess before. I could feel people, truly feel them, without seeing them or hearing them speak. I sensed negativity or goodness immediately, as clearly as one senses heat or cold. This was not something I sought, and it was not always comfortable, but it was undeniable. Sharing my experience with others was complicated. Some were curious. Many were intimidated. Most simply could not understand. I learned quickly that this was something one had to experience to believe. One night years later, I told my father about what had happened to me. The very next day, he suffered a stroke. When he regained consciousness in the hospital, he could not speak, but he insisted over and over that I remain with him. He nodded yes again and again until his final breath, and in that moment I knew he understood something I could never fully articulate. Years after my experience, I was visited, reminded. I was made aware that the reason I had not been allowed to die was beginning to unfold in my life. The meaning of my return was coming to fruition, piece by piece. This was not my only supernatural experience, but it was the only one that came through death's doorway. It was not the most dramatic, nor the most mystical, but it was the most defining. The greatest gift was being there. The greatest sorrow was coming back. Yet I now understand that returning was never a punishment. It was a responsibility. Life, I learned, is far more vast than we are taught. Death is not an ending, and behind the veil we fear so deeply, there is not darkness, but truth. Thank you for listening to this near-death experience. You have just heard a testimony that challenges what many of us believe about life, death, and consciousness. If this near-death experience resonated with you, consider sharing your thoughts respectfully in the comments. Each perspective adds depth to the conversation. If you wish to support the channel, you can like this video, subscribe, and share it with those who may need to hear it. These simple actions help these stories reach others who are searching for meaning, comfort, or understanding. For more first-hand accounts, watch the next episode on the following screen. New narratives drop regularly. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss one. Let's keep lifting the veil, one episode at a time. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. See you soon for another journey beyond the veil.